This dog kept returning to a shelter after being adopted. Then staff knew there was only one choice. Shelter staff couldn't believe it when they saw him. Gumby was back again. Mind you, this wasn't the first or even the third time that he had escaped his humans and returned to the shelter. Don't let the innocent look on Gumby's face fool you, because he's actually a cunning escape artist. You wouldn't be the first person to fall for his demure act and puppy dog eyes. However, he's actually managed to dupe the Charleston Animal Society, CAS, too. His story started in September 2014 when someone brought him to the CAS shelter in South Carolina. Although he was allegedly a stray, 7-year-old Gumby was very well kept for a street dog. The staff at CAS had some theories about Gumby's situation. It was possible, they thought, that his owner had not long rejected him, or that he had run away from home. However, Gumby found his way to CAS, though the shelter dedicated itself to finding him the forever home he truly deserved. That proved harder than CAS expected, however. It wasn't that no one wanted Gumby, quite the opposite in fact, but the dog wouldn't settle down. 3 days after his initial adoption, for instance, Gumby ran away from home and returned to the CAS shelter. As a result, CAS tried Gumby with another home. This one was more successful, but only just. Gumby found his way back to the shelter 6 days later. Consequently, CAS realized that Gumby was not only a mastermind, but he was also an expert escape artist. He climbed fences, opened doors, nothing could keep him from returning to the shelter. Gumby's determined third owner even tried more than once to give the dog a good home, but the hound's heart belonged elsewhere, and the dog always escaped. In fact, he went back to the shelter 4 times via one method or another. On one of these occasions, Animal Control returned Gumby, and a kind-hearted citizen found him another time. His then owner also returned him twice because he worried that Gumby would hurt himself trying to escape. Unsurprisingly then, Gumby became infamous for returning to CAS like a boomerang, and new adopters were made aware of his tendencies. But that didn't stop enthusiastic dog lovers from taking on the challenge of Gumby. And for a while, everything was quiet on the Gumby front. It actually looked like he had settled down. Then, 4 months later, a suspiciously familiar hound showed up at CAS as a stray. Owner 5 lost Gumby 2 months into their adoption, and the dog turned up at an affiliated shelter 30 miles away from CAS. Owner 6 then returned the hound fairly quickly when Gumby didn't get along with the family's other dog. Well, when owner number 7 returned Gumby on January 4th, 2016, it became painfully obvious that he wouldn't settle down. During a single month, for example, Gumby had escaped 3 times, one time through a broken screen door. So, what could CAS do about Gumby? They couldn't adopt him out because whenever he escaped, he returned to the shelter. On the other hand, his escape attempts were minimal whenever he stayed with CAS and its staff. There was something else too. Gumby enjoyed the company of the shelter dogs. More than that though, he had a temperament that seemed to supplement their own. If they showed fear, Gumby was comforting. If they were on edge, he was calm. To be more specific, CAS couple Joanna Farrell and John Martin adopted Gumby, and for a time, he served as an ambassador for new shelter dogs, as his calming nature helped their behavioral training. But his role at the shelter didn't end there. On June 4th, 2016, the group announced on Facebook that Gumby had become a blood donor for CAS kittens, too. You see, veterinarians used an extract from his blood to make drops for treating kittens that had infected eyes. Then, on October 7th, 2017, CAS reported that Gumby now lives in New York City with Farrell and Martin. But the former CAS employees kept in touch and updated the shelter on the hound's progress. And the best news, Gumby has never tried to escape. He's such a mama and daddy's boy. He's glued to our sides at all times, and we can open the apartment door and let him off his leash inside our building without worrying. So it looks like Gumby's finally settled, and he couldn't be happier.